Good morning and welcome to the Parenting Factor, where parents are helping parents. I'm your host, Leo Sifle, along with my wife, Juanita.
Good morning.
My wife and I believe that it takes a village to raise a child and that a conscientious parent is another parent's greatest resource.
Today we've got in the studio two amazing young men. We've got Ross Lippincott.
Ross Lippincott, young master Lippincott.
There you go. And then we've got Chase Ennis.
Yeah. Chase Ennis.
And the reason why they're so amazing is because they're part of a band, and the band is called the N, as in the alphabet, letter N, result. Okay, so we're going to do some talking here today.
We want to find out, first of all, how you two came up with that name.
All right, you want to take that?
Sure, I could take this one. Well, the End Result. This is our band. It's a blues rock hip hop band, and
blues rock hip hop.
Yeah, blues rock hip hop. We're just
That's
fusing.
kind of a big,
it's a fusion.
It's
a fusion.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a fusion, a bunch of different styles and stuff. Definitely really, really cool. And I guess we were trying to figure out, what name really embodies what we're doing, because it's so cross-genre. There's not really a way to describe it.
Right.
And so we came upon this name, this idea, the End Result, and it's kind of like, the phrase, to the nth degree.
I thought that might be.
That's
what
I thought it was too.
Degree.
Yeah, that kind of, I guess the idea behind it is just that we're six different guys, different backgrounds, different races, playing different instruments, but you put us together and there's this limitless things that we can do,
right? And
there's this infinite possibilities, and so that's the idea behind the End Result.
So you guys have been getting a lot of playtime, as I understand it.
Yeah, we've been playing a lot of gigs. Yeah,
right. So where have you played?
We played all over the place. We played down in the Village at a place called Wicked Willie's. We play at a place called the Bitter End.
We know the Bitter End.
Yeah, we just played
right here in New York City. That's been around like a while though, babe.
I know.
And we've opened up for Pharrell Williams of the band NERD.
Yeah.
Another artist named Ryan Leslie for a band called Motion City Soundtrack. We played at the African American Heritage Festival down in Baltimore.
Nice.
Whoa, all around.
It's like the same bill as Anita Baker and.
Oh wow!
Did you get to meet her?
We didn't. I didn't meet.
We met some of her band members.
Yeah, we met some of the people from the band.
Okay.
But
How cool is that?
Oh, it was great. We got to just talk to them, and it was great.
What's the aesthetic like? I mean, what's it like being up there playing, connecting with your audience?
It's amazing. I mean, it's just such high energy music. It's really cool because I come from a background where I had never really been around a lot of hip hop and that kind of music, and so for a while I wasn't really into it. And then when I met Chase and started to fuse those two styles, I mean, it's amazing what hip hop brings to music and what it can do. And so when we're on stage playing, I mean, the atmosphere and the energy is just it's so high energy, and it's very positive. It's very fun. It's very exciting.
Now, does that exemplify you guys, because our audience can't see you, so does that exemplify the makeup of your band? You've got suburbia, you've got urban area, you've got all different nationalities in your group.
We are all shapes and sizes,
multicultural,
and colors and everything. We're different.
And it provides for a lot of funny stories, especially as we travel. We recently got back from Atlanta. We opened up for Arrested Development, and just even driving. I mean, we've been together now for about a year, for about 2 years, and even now as we drive and we travel to places and we talk, there's so many funny stories, and even just the differences that we have that we're able to laugh about that I think is really cool with our backgrounds and growing up the way that we did. So
I think that's a really cool jump off point, because once you can see the differences and the similarities, you know what I mean? Because that's what so much violence is about. People think they're so different. I mean, we have differences, but we're very similar. But when we stay so separate, and that's what I love about your band, is because there's so many different backgrounds culminating in this melting pot of music.
Absolutely. And I think in the country right now, there's a real emphasis on multiculturalism, because of the fact that we have a black president, and he's very much about uniting this nation, which is an interesting thing. And I think the culture of this country is changing. So it might be the right time for your band to do its thing.
You never know, right?
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah. There's a lot of music out there, a lot of bands out there, and everybody is trying to develop a unique sound. And so what distinguishes you guys from the rest, would you say?
I could take this one. I mean, I think what we're trying to accomplish through our music, I think, is really what sets us apart, from a lot of different bands. I think it's not just superficial, but what we're talking about really has meaning, and has a lot to do with relationships. So the songs right away are very catchy in the pop sense, but when you get down to it, like one of our songs called Hollywood, and it's just talking about how real life is not like the movies, because relationships, if you don't, if you're in a relationship and it's not really a healthy one, it could really do you some damage. And the song is all about how, just being careful in relationships and things like that, how we think that things always will have a Hollywood ending, and we have to realize that relationships are not always like that. You know? And so the message behind it is really one of love, and there's a lot of just really powerful, positive messages that are just really woven through our music. And I think that's definitely something that sets us apart. And another thing I think is also the stylistically, all of the stuff that we bring, because we're all trained musicians, and so we really bring a really cool mix of stuff, especially then with our cultural backgrounds in that mix. But then you also, we just produced an album, and it's got anywhere from hip hop and hard rock and pop rock kind of ish stuff.
Samba.
There's like a song that's got a samba dance beat. There's a country-ish song. So from a blues rock hip hop band to be doing a lot of this different, there's a kind of like disco-y 70s. There's a lot of different stuff, and so it's a very eclectic mix. And I think that's something that really sets us apart, because from song to song, it's like, whoa, like who is this?
That's cool. I like that. The different flavors.
And when we perform it as well, we'll do a hip hop song at, say, a lounge or a club that we were performing at, and then we go from that to transition into a rock song or a blues song, something that sounds like a Ray Charles song. You'll have the older crowd dancing and the younger crowd dancing, and it's just like this cool just mix of everyone just having a great time. So it's rewarding, it's fulfilling as an artist.
That's why you said it's like a party.
Yeah, it is.
That you're enjoying and the audience is enjoying too,
so
right?
Now, what do you say to people that would say only sex and violence sells? Everything, you've heard people say that. They say in the record industry, if it's not about sex, violence, especially in the film industry, it's not going to sell. Obviously, you're doing something that's appealing to the larger audience.
Yeah. Right? I've heard that before, and people have even approached me and said things to me like that. Well, your music doesn't have enough of this in it, or doesn't have enough of that in it. And I think that I've thought a lot about it. And I think what I've realized is that I feel like it's easy. That stuff does sell, but it's easy to make that stuff sell. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think it's a more difficult route to do something of substance, and it's not something that many people can do. And so
there's a certain level of artistry that's involved,
right? Creativity, and to say some really profound things, without vulgar stuff in your music, So I think it's not necessary,
right?
But it's an easy way. But I think the harder way is definitely to
it's easy to compromise.
Yeah, it's definitely easy to compromise.
And I think that songs like that and material like that, in some cases it sex selling and stuff like that, it's good for the moment, but it doesn't really bring about any lasting changes or any difference. And so even when we approach our music and the creative process behind it, we're thinking about, man, how can these songs transcend time, or how can these songs have a lasting effect where people are able to listen to them and not just hear a song and be entertained, but be able to take something away that might be permanently etched into their characters, or be able to move them to go out and want to do something else. You know what I mean? So